The Yang Gang is not on board with Julian Assange. This is a disheartening video from Andrew Yang. Yang wasn't the one that put out the video. Someone asked Yang a question about Julian Assange. And to be fair, Yang is the Asian guy that wants to give us money. Once you start digging below the surface, however, stuff like this comes up. Welcome to the Soapbox. My name is Jamarl Thomas. This is the Progressive Soapbox. Guys, if you dig this content, like this content, find yourself coming back to this channel often, please like this video, share this video, and it goes without saying, subscribe. If you are really digging this content, please consider supporting this content through PayPal or Patreon. Even $1 helps. YouTube demonetizes these videos willy-nilly. It's always aggravating to me when they demonetize a video that does really, really well. Because like, bastard. That said, this content is brought to you by you. So I appreciate you allowing me to do this. I've brought up Andrew Yang on more than one occasion because not so much that I'm a part of the Yang Gang, but more so Andrew Yang looks at our system as a system. And in looking at our system as a system, at the very least can come up with interesting plans for problems that we are going to face down the line, and soon, and probably sooner than we expect. Meaning this technological innovation or this technological unemployment. There will always be jobs for human beings to do. The nurse, the you can even argue the teacher. I want to say the doctor, but even to that degree, you may have robots doing those type of things. I guess I'm saying Yang has a point. Even in the short term, think of all of the automated cars that are hitting the markets. Google or Alphabet, his company, was in a lawsuit with Uber, I believe, over automation technology. Now, there are all sorts of companies that are working with automated cars. Just looking at that sector by itself, what does that mean for the United States, for the world? What did the car mean for the horse and buggy? What did the elevator mean for the elevator man? And by the way, those aren't negatives. The problem with technology is not the technology. The problem with the technology is that our society has not become conscious enough to utilize it in a way that's beneficial to the entirety of the society itself. Oftentimes, technology in our society goes to make people rich. And in making people rich, having other people lose their jobs. And what I mean by that is, how many taxi drivers do we have in this country? They're going to lose their jobs. How many Uber drivers? How many Lyft drivers? How many trucks going from point A to point B? All of those people are going to lose their jobs. Those are no longer going to be human drivers. The reason they're no longer going to be human drivers is because they're not going to get tired. They're not going to get sick. They're not going to get ill. They're not going to feel blue. They're not going to get into an argument with their girlfriend or their mom. None of that stuff is going to take place. That robot is going to be in that car and it's going to go from point A to point B. And if they're really clever, they'll make it solar powered so the thing can just go on in perpetuity without any stops. Or for that matter, electric, where it goes and automatically charges up. My point is, you can program that thing to do some of anything. Hundreds of thousands of people will lose their jobs, not because they did anything wrong. They could be amazing drivers. But the catch is, you have to pay that driver. And however little Uber pays their drivers, I guarantee you they would like to pay less, because paying them less allows them to expropriate more to the top. That's just one sector. We haven't even gotten to convenience stores, where Amazon is working on technology where you walk in the convenience store, it automatically charges your card, checkout person, not necessary. Same thing with grocery stores. Look at the way grocery stores are trending. You have these lanes now that are expanding that don't require people. And in lanes that would have required 5 or 6 people, you only have one person, and that's just to oversee the process. Service sector. If you remember, it's the largest sector in the United States. It's the largest sector because a lot of people lost their jobs in other sectors when those jobs were shipped overseas. This is a real issue. And so I like the fact that Yang is bringing up this real issue and is talking about our system as a system and is saying, look, when the environment changes, we also need to change to accommodate the environmental changes that we are dealing with. Otherwise, you're going to have massive amounts of layoffs and unemployment based on these kind of trending changes within the context of our economy, and not just our economy, our world in general, in regards to our technological development. That said, and let's put a but behind all of that, you're not supporting Assange. And that's a fail for me, which is why I'm doing this video. Assange, whatever you want to think of him, is a publisher. He receives information and he presents that information as is. It's never been wrong. It's never shown to be faulty. It's never shown to be a lie. He's a publisher. And we are trying to extradite him to the United States to prosecute him under espionage laws. A publisher. Now, put to the side to the moment what this means for other media organizations. There's a reason newspapers and Rachel Maddow has been supporting Assange on this very specific point. It's not that they're supporting Assange. They understand that if you could charge Assange for espionage, that all of them are on the line. It's essentially everybody is on the chopping block that considers themselves journalists or publishers. Why doesn't Yang know that? Why doesn't Yang know that? Let's hear Yang explain himself.
You support Julian Assange?
I think Julian Assange should stand trial. I am generally pro whistleblower and pro people that try and call out bad behaviors. But in that particular case, he did end up disclosing some information that really had no useful purpose except for potential damage to our infrastructure, like the undersea cables location and some other things. So I certainly would not be in favor of I think he should stand trial.
Thank you.
That's disheartening. That's disheartening. The Asian man that wants to give us money but is not necessarily onto this notion of whistleblowing. How can you be generally for whistleblowers, but not for Assange? And by the way, I don't even accept the premise of this argument that Assange put something out that injured somebody. Nobody got injured from the information that Assange put out. Who got injured? Who got hit? Nobody. All governments have this thing of national security, where they would declare things as national security that aren't entirely national security, but just embarrassing or illegal. Assange has been a world treasure, not just a national treasure. And it is disheartening that Yang is on board with us. And again, I want to stress this point. Assange is a publisher. And what does it mean if you believe publishers should be prosecuted for what they publish? That is a worrying trend, and that would set a worrying precedent. Rachel Maddow hates Julian Assange. Rachel Maddow believes that Assange, to some degree, was responsible for Hillary Clinton getting elected. I'm postulating this. She's never said this part, but I'm pretty sure this part is true. Even she came out saying, whoa. Do you think she wanted to come out for Assange? No, she did not. Chuck Todd. Do you think Chuck Todd wanted to come out for Assange? No, he did not. Do you think the U.S. media, who would use the information from Assange, wanted to come out for Assange? No. They came out for their own necks. They understood, if we don't get behind this, and if at the very least we don't support this, we could be next. We could be next. Why doesn't Yang know that? Why doesn't Yang know that? They're trying to prosecute him for being a publisher. Let's be very clear. This notion of espionage, they're trying to prosecute him for being a publisher, which is what he is. Also, he's not even an American. So you're saying that this non-American is subject to our laws, but not the protections of those laws. Even that's problematic. I'm sorry. This is a problematic perspective for me, for Yang. Asian man that wants to give us money but is not on board for whistleblowing.
I think Julian Assange should stand trial. I am generally pro whistleblower and pro people that try and call out bad behaviors. But in that particular case, like he did end up disclosing some information that really had no useful purpose except for potential damage to our infrastructure, like the undersea cables location and some other things. So I certainly would not be in favor of
Did he say damage to our infrastructure? What is he talking about? I don't know what he's talking about. I wish he would have been specific. Oh, or at the very least, I wish this gentleman would have actually followed up and be like, what do you mean by damage to our infrastructure? Be specific. That would have at least helped my assessment of this. I mean, if he would have came up with something legit, whatever, like, okay, fair enough, that was damage to our infrastructure. But I have no idea what that is. I have no idea what Yang is talking about here. And whether or not it was useful sometimes is subjective. So, But this notion that Julian Assange should be prosecuted, and the only thing they're trying to prosecute him for is printing whistleblowing work that he received. This is a problem perspective, Yang. Problem perspective. Just saying. Assange is a hero. Yang is a dystopian technocrat. Portafilm co-op. Yeah. That's yeah. Agreed. That's a problem. Because it sounds like damage to infrastructure. It sounds like, and maybe what he's talking about is pushing out the information for WikiLeaks. Well, clearly WikiLeaks, but putting out the information for the DNC leaks. That's what it sounds like he may be talking about when he said damage to our infrastructure. Otherwise, I have no idea what Yang is talking about. If he is talking about the DNC leaks, he should say so. He should say so. Because at that point, I would overtly dislike him. At that point, I would absolutely overtly dislike him. But that's a sucky position, to say the least. I'll leave it. I'll leave it here. I don't want this video to be long. If somebody is supporting Yang and they like Julian Assange, I suppose you have a choice to make. Leave it here. I'll see you guys momentarily. Like, share, subscribe. See you in like 5 minutes. Thanks all.